Welcome everyone to our Thursday night Dharma talk at Mountain Cloud. As Scott mentioned, I'm just still recovering from a bit of a respiratory virus that's been going around. So just to be safe, joining tonight from the cloud. Thank you for all the care and support. This way of gathering in the zendo and all around is itself a pointer to the oneness world we're invited to discover in this practice. No near or far, one here. And it is boundless. I titled this talk, Love and Loss in a Seamless World, a gesture of gratitude for the life of Johanna Sindelar. Many of us know Johanna as a beloved sangha member who served as Mountain Cloud's office manager and all-around administrator for more than a decade. Register for any event, and Johanna was the first point of contact. Show up, and she was likely the first person you'd meet. Last Saturday, during our Zazenkai, we received word that Johanna had died. The message came just before the start of the afternoon block. So we took it in and sat. A blessed afternoon. I'd like to share again what our Sangha member, Marianne Bennett, wrote, her message. Dear friends of Johanna, just received a sweet phone call from Nathaniel and Emma. Beloved Johanna had a quiet passing, surrounded by her 3 loving children, Thursday night, a week ago tonight, at 9:45. They took a day to stay quiet and close in their grief, and just now starting to reach out to friends. They asked me to please reach out to our group and again relay their deep gratitude to all of us. They could not emphasize deeply enough how much our support meant to them and Johanna, and how the Zen Center was the foundation of her life for so many years. Johanna's name will be placed on the Mountain Cloud altar for 49 days. We can do the same here at home. Holding Solomon, Emma, Nathaniel, and Johanna in profound stillness, love, and light. Some years ago, someone sent the link to a recording of the Heart Sutra in a translation by Thich Nhat Hahn. It was mesmerizing. I shared the link with others and spoke about it once during a talk. The harmonies weaving in and out from unison to perfect intervals to dissonance to unison. Tai titled the Heart Sutra, The Insight That Brings Us to the Other Shore. And the piece does that. The other shore. Right here. Johanna was a musician and she loved this setting. So I think that Kieran is going to line it up, and let's hear it now in her honor.
The insight that brings us to the other shore. Avalokiteshvara, while practicing deeply with the insight that brings us to the other shore, suddenly discover that all of the five skandhas are equally empty, and with this realization he overcame all ill-being. Listen, Shariputra, this body itself is emptiness, and emptiness itself is this body. This body is not other than emptiness, and emptiness is not other than this body. The same is true of feelings, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness. Listen, Shariputra, phenomena bear the mark of emptiness. Their true nature is the nature of no birth, no death, no being, no non-being, no defilement, no purity, no increasing, no decreasing. That is why in emptiness, body, feelings, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness are not separate self-entities. The 18 realms of phenomena, which are the 6 sense organs, 6 sense objects, and 6 consciousnesses, are also not separate self-entities. The 12 links of interdependent arising and their extinction are also not separate self-entities. You being the causes of ill-being, the end of ill-being, the path, insight, and attainment are also not separate self-entities. Whoever can see this no longer needs anything to attain. Bodhisattvas who practice the insight that brings us to the other shore see no more obstacles in their mind, and because there are no more obstacles in their mind, they can overcome all fear, destroy our own perceptions, and realize perfect nirvana. All Buddhas in the past, present, and insight that brings us to the other shore, are incapable of attaining authentic and perfect enlightenment. Therefore, Shariputra, it should be known that the insight that brings us to the other shore is a great mantra, the most illuminating mantra, the highest mantra, a mantra beyond compare, the true wisdom that has the power to put an end to all kinds of suffering. Therefore, let us proclaim a mantra to praise the insight that brings us to the other shore. Gate, gate, paragate, parasangate, bodhisattva. Gate, gate, paragate, parasangate, bodhisattva. Gate, gate, paragate, parasangate,
Bodhi is a feminine noun, meaning awakening. The other words in this bright mantra modify Bodhi, describe it. And that last word, svaha, is an exclamation, as in an amen, or so be it. A performative word, like a deep bow or slapping your thighs. The other shore, here. The Heart Sutra is an invitation to realize and to be what you are, to awaken. So tonight, as a pointer, a kind of beacon on the way, I'd like to turn to a koan. This one's an old friend. It's an encounter between an emperor and his beloved Zen master who is about to die. Probably their last meeting, it surely was. The emperor asks, "What shall I do to honor you after you die?" This is case 85 in the Book of Equanimity, or Shoyoroku. the national teacher's gravestone. Here's the case. Emperor Shukuso asked Shu, the national teacher, "What would you wish me to do after 100 years?" The national teacher said, "Make a seamless gravestone for this old monk." The emperor said, "I should like to ask you, master, for a design." The national teacher remained silent for a long time. Then he said, "Did you understand?" The emperor said, "I didn't understand anything." The national teacher said, "I have a Dharma successor, my disciple Tengen, who is well versed with this matter." Afterward, the emperor called Tengen and asked him about the meaning of this. Tengen responded, "South of the river, north of the lake. In between, there's gold filling the whole land. Under the shadowless tree, all people are in one boat. In the crystal palace, there is no knowledge." This verse from Tengen describes what we are, each one of us and all of us. Bodhi, this shore. So let's take a bit of a look. Etchu, here called Chu, was a Dharma heir of the sixth Chinese ancestor, Huining. And when he was a young man, Etchu experienced a deep awakening. So he went into a remote valley in the mountains and practiced there as a hermit, together with his lone disciple, Tengen. Word of Etchu's practice, his depth and his clarity spread, and the emperor invited him to come to the palace to teach. After the third invitation, the story unfolds, Etchu felt compelled to respond. There are other hermits who declined the request, even under the threat of death. But compassion moved Etchu to abandon his solitary life and move to the palace. And Tengen remained close by, his disciple and Dharma successor. The records indicate that national teacher Chu lived to be 100. And when he was about to die, the emperor asked him, "Beloved teacher, what would you wish me to do after 100 years? What shall I do to honor you after you die?" The emperor had deep respect for Chu, and he had the means to build an impressive monument. Make a seamless tomb for this old monk. Of course, Etchu's body would be cremated and his cremains interred, and the custom was to have some kind of marker made of stone. What is Etchu really asking of his student? What can I do to honor you, Master? Realize yourself. Etchu isn't just inviting this either. He's actually showing it. Make a seamless gravestone for this old monk. Every sound, right there. One seamless transparency. You can hear it, but it's already gone. Well, the emperor doesn't see. He asks for a design, and Etchu offers it. He remained silent for a long time. What is that silence? A means to awakening? Awakening itself? When he was asked, Master, where do you rest your mind in Zazen? Joshu said, where there is no design. I've talked about this before. I once asked Ruben, what would the characters be for this no design? And a few days later, he came back with, well, maybe it's Mu-E, Mu-E, Mu, no, E, design. Wonderful if it is. No I, no fixed center, no inside outside, no arbitrary coordinates, no design, and no designing. A student told me recently that he'd been at Great Vow and heard Hogan Bayes Roshi there give an informal teaching where he just said, at some point in this practice, you stop manipulating others. No designing. Asked what he was doing, just sitting zazen when the province was suffering a devastating drought. Momon Ekai said, silently not influencing anything. No design. It's said that soon thereafter the rains came. Asked how to enter the Dharma gate of not to, beyond life and death, beyond all duality, the Buddha's lay disciple Vimalakirti sat in silence. Silence like thunder, the sutra says. A silence heard round the world. Sit with this koan, and Etchu's zazen silently pervades the earth and sky, the place where you're sitting, the surrounding landscape, the farthest reaches of the web, the sun, moon, and stars, all time, all space, one resounding silence. Did you understand? Did you get the design? The emperor is honest. I didn't understand anything. So he follows his master's invitation. And after Etchu dies, goes to Tengen. So Tengen shares this verse that describes quite intimately, quite vividly, the world that Etchu tried to convey, the design he's been conveying all along. Just 4 lines. Somehow right now just resonating with this Heart Sutra and its stanzas, all here in 4 lines. South of the river, north of the lake. He's talking about the whole wide world. Coordinates this vast, seamless universe. In between, there's gold filling the whole land. What's that? Where is it? How will you show it? This line always reminds me of the last line of Dogen's Fukan Zazenji, his universal instructions on Zazen. From beginning to end. And this for him is what this world is like, what this awake world is. He says, the treasure chest opens by itself and one uses the treasure freely. Raise an arm. How does that happen? Under the shadowless tree, all people are in one boat. What if your very body is that shadowless tree? This one whole transparency. Nothing outside it, nothing to divide, nothing to impede anything. You can check it out in your sitting. Is there any edge? All people in one boat. So nothing excluded. Such a beautiful design, our essential nature. Still, can't really bring this up without mentioning that in our time, the image of one boat bears with it the bodies of countless migrants who've lost their lives or been turned back for trying to reach the shore of a country where they have a chance at being included. I actually looked this up today because it's not the headlines right now for us, but it's happening every day. Boats going down or being turned away. The Dharma doesn't divide, but our delusions do. So what happens then when we discover the world of Echu's silence, this design of our true nature, the one heart that cannot but be in one boat, including all suffering, all the cries of the world, including your own cries. Our hearts break, maybe all the way. Break to match the boundlessness that is our intrinsic home. Right here. And wherever you turn. Then there's one last line to this verse. In the crystal palace, there is no knowledge. No knowledge. This world, this crystal palace world, this boundless clarity. So clear that it's totally clear of any knowing. Of course, we can say no thing to know and no one there to know anything. Nothing like a separate self, not even a trace. It's another way of describing the shadowless tree. Empty, 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 as the Heart Sutra puts it. And what a wonder. In our Zazenkai, or Kinshukai, the Zen teacher training last August, we took up this case to the verse. Roshi just asked afterward, it was lovely unpacking. What's he describing? It's this. Extending in all directions, pervading everywhere, treasure galore, and at the same time, no thing. Actually, no person. It's an open invitation to the mind of before knowing. The mind of before knowing. Before what? Really don't know. "40 years of solitary practice, alone in the mountains. And then all those years of teaching. We're not doing this practice to abandon our lives. It doesn't dismiss anything. And it's not just about an awakening experience, however that gift may come. It's about the real design of your life, about life and death, constant change, infinite possibilities. And this phrase I love, the boundless compassion of who you truly are, what this is. What shall I do for you in 100 years? What if that after is right now? Johanna, how shall we honor you in this world that doesn't really do before or after? We offer our sitting. We acknowledge our intention to see. We miss you. We mourn even as we give thanks. We grieve with those who are grieving. We take in the harmonies that delight you. Oh, I'd like to close this with just a short story from a collection of that book called 101 Zen Stories, Zen Flesh, Zen Bones. Just seems to resonate. Here's the story. Just before Ninakawa passed away, the Zen master Ikkyu visited him. "Shall I lead you on?" Ikkyu asked. Ninakawa replied, "I came here alone and I go alone. What help could you be to me?" Ikkyu answered, "If you think you really come and go, that is your delusion. Let me show you the path on which there is no coming and no going." With his words, Ikkyu had revealed the path so clearly that Ninakawa smiled and passed away. Gate, gate, paragate. Thank you.